What I have here are plates that are textured, and they come in all these wonderful textures and several different sizes. And what I do with them is mold acrylic medium into them and allow them to dry. But first I had to coat it with a spray mold release. And it can come in an aerosol or a pump bottle. You must put it on here, allow it to dry. It takes 15-20 minutes for it to dry. And this one has been prepared, and I'm all set to work with it. This one happens to be just an ordinary everyday mold release. And I'm going to work in one of my favorite color combinations today. I'm going to start with some gel medium. And I'm just going to grab some gel medium. And then I'm going to take and add some pigment. Now it can be liquid pigment, it can be gel pigment. I don't really care one way or the other what you use. I just happen to have a lot of liquid mediums. I'm going to put a few drops of that in there. And then I'm going to add some gold interference. Now interference colors are kind of interesting because of the way they bend the light. This one happens to be gold. It's a beautiful, beautiful finish. When mixed with purple, it really does some marvelous things. And so I'm going to add a little bit of this gold interference. And notice that the proportion of pigment to gel medium is not all that great. I mean, it's just a small amount. But look at how I can really take that color and push it around. I'm going to make sure that everything gets thoroughly blended. And this is the fun part. This is where it all starts to get really interesting, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this pigment and I'm going to force it down into the pattern on this sheet. And you know, I'm not going to be too terribly concerned if the edges are a little bit rough. I just want to make sure that I get good coverage. Now this last coat, I'm going to go very lightly, and I'm going to want to try and build up above the ridges. If I usually like to work with an offset spatula with this. Now, this can take a long time to dry because basically it's sealed on one side. So, there's the basic. I don't know whether you can see any of the gold in there or not, but the gold is in there. And that's pretty amazing. In the video it looks blue, but it's actually Diox purple. So, what I'm going to do is take it over to the edge and just lightly skim the surface, trying to make sure I have it all well sealed. Now this is going to take several hours to dry, so it will, when I come back, I'll be ready to peel it off. But that's where it's going to start. That's how this whole thing's going to start. So give me a couple hours to let this dry, and I'll be back and we'll start peeling this off of here. Well, the other project that I'm working on is drying. I've decided that I would like to try and do a little something with tar gel and string gel. And it's kind of an interesting material, both of them actually. And I'm trying to level my board, trying to make sure that it's perfectly level, because some of these things are so liquid that they'll literally just fall off the table. Still could use just a little bit more, looks like. Okay, not too bad. So what I'm going to do is I've got some string gel, and I put some interference gold in here and some purple, one of my favorite color combinations in here. And I think I will probably use a tip of some sort, if I can find one. Got it. So I have these little tips that will go on this bottle. And these are just Gouda bottles with these metal tips, made predominantly for silk. From what my luck has been, I found that if I take and use these tips as long as they're open. They really make a nice thin line. So one of the things I want to do is I'm going to put some of this tar gel down and see if we can get a little bit of a surface going here. And this is kind of neat stuff. Now, you don't have to use this string gel with the tar gel. It's not required. But I think it does help control the spread. So I've put a nice little dollop of tar gel on there, and I want to be sure that I clean my palette knife right away. Make sure that I close up the jar. I don't want any more air exposure than absolutely necessary. So I'm going to clean my palette knife. And this is about a 50-50 mix of acrylic medium and string medium and color, including a interference color. So the whole thing behind this string gel is that you should be able to just do a nice flowing line, which I think that's pretty nice effect there. And I can just go back and forth, and it'll pretty much maintain it through the tar gel. So that's the purpose of this, is to help give you a nice long rheology while it's coming out of some sort of vessel or container. If I wanted a thicker line, I can just leave that tip off, and you can see I can get a much thicker line. If I didn't have the tar gel down, my feeling is that the whole thing would flatten out just like it has here, and would be a totally different feel. So now I've made this, I can actually take this and let it dry and cut it apart and use it in a piece. So if I'm going to do that, I want to make sure that I get rid of all these little air bubbles. And sometimes it's just a matter of, there's one gone, another gone, gone. And notice how quickly it fills back in. So I'm going to let this dry, and we're going to see where this goes, and I will cut it apart. It's kind of doing some interesting things. So that's string gel.